Typically when I think of voter suppression, I think of the stories my grandma or grandpa would tell me about, literacy tests or having to count how many jelly beans are in a jar. But today it seems like more of a problem of access.
It seems like this past governor's race was really kind of filled with people trying to stop people from voting, and especially in areas with a lot of minorities.
Efforts to dilute the vote, make it hard for people to vote, can make a big difference in determining the outcome of an election. When you start talking about 1.5 million people purged from the polls, or 53,000 people who have their voter registration questioned, when you talk about long lines where dozens upon dozens in different counties, people may leave the line and not cast their vote, that can add up and ultimately shape what ultimately happens.
Some of the machines weren't working. They didn't supply the right materials to get the machines working, so we at least got some extension on it. But just the fact that the lines were long, that it had to stop, it stopped a lot of people from voting.
Polling stations sometimes don't have enough places to actually cast your ballot, and so that can create long lines. And for people, again, who are working people in particular, who may have had an hour or two at the most to cast their ballot, may find that another obstacle. If you look at the past history of the ways that people have tried to manipulate the ballot in order to achieve a particular outcome, those tactics, they are just reinvented, refashioned, and oftentimes executed in much more subtle forms.
I actually had someone text me during election season because the station that they went to was doing paper ballots, and they ran out of paper envelopes for people to sign and to send off to wherever they needed to go to be counted. And because of that, they text me like, are they still allowing people to vote, on campus, because they're trying to essentially suppress our vote by not letting us get envelopes to send off our ballots.
I've heard stories across Georgia about polling machines staying unwrapped in the warehouse, the battery running out on some polling machines. So it's small things that are happening like that make you think, there's some, ulterior motives for some to try to hinder the voting, rights that we all have as citizens.
Voting is, in many cases, controlled at the local and county level. And so what's happening down ticket, what's happening at the county level, what's happening at the state level really matters in terms of what the rules are about who is and who is not eligible to vote.
I think especially around election time, a lot of students get hyped up for the last, let's say, 2-3 months, but there are still things happening every day after elections happen and before elections happen. So I think the best thing for young people to do is just to, like Alex said, keep that fire kindling consistently, so that we don't have these instances come and surprise us. As young people, it may seem discouraging, but I think now more than ever, it's important to continue to fight and push for fair voting practices and to have our voices heard.